Hey, Andrew, are we ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm just getting it up on YouTube.
Yeah, my screen shows that it's now streaming live.
I'll go ahead and give the intro if that's all right.
Sure, go ahead.
The format of this meeting consists of board members and applicants attending a live online Zoom meeting. We have 10 members and applicants in attendance here on the Zoom meeting. For applicants, please only speak when the chair indicates it's time to do so. For example, he may ask if anyone is present to speak for an application. In addition, as usual, prior to addressing the board, please state your name, address, and affirm you will tell the truth. The meeting is also streaming live on the city's YouTube channel. For the public, viewers on the YouTube channel have the ability to type in comments. If you enter in a comment, please first indicate your name and address. Comments can be entered at any time, but we relay to the board when the chair indicates that it's time to do so during the public hearing. Any other comments submitted to me prior to tonight's meeting have also been forwarded to the board. Please also be aware there's an approximate 15-second delay between the Zoom meeting and the live stream on YouTube. That's all I have for now. I'll turn it over to Stuart to begin the meeting.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, this is the regularly scheduled September meeting of the Worcester Board of Building and Zoning Appeals. This is a volunteer board of Worcester citizens established to hear requests for variances, appeals, and similar applications as specified in the City of Worcester Planning and Zoning Code. Board members present this evening are Mark Reynolds, Ken Suchan, Doug McMillan, Brad Gowans, and we have a new member this evening, Ben Gunn, newly appointed by the mayor. Board member Greg McMillan is absent this evening. My name is Stuart Fitzgibbon, and I am chairman of this board. Because these hearings are a matter of legal record, the public portion of the meeting is recorded. Therefore, as Andrew just indicated, we ask that if and when you speak, please speak loudly and clearly. We also ask that prior to speaking, each speaker gives his or her name, address, and affirmation to tell the truth. Following the meeting, the appellant for each application will receive notification of the board's decision. The applications to be considered tonight are applications BZA 20-20, BZA 20-21, and BZA 20-22. We've had a request to change the order. We will begin with application number 20. We will then go to application number 22, and we will take application 21 last. So the first item on our agenda is to call the roll of the board. Mark?
Here.
Thank you. Ken?
Here.
Doug?
Here.
Brad?
Here.
Ben?
Here.
And I too am here. Our next order of business is approval of the minutes from the August meeting. Are there any comments, questions, corrections? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Brad. Do I have a second?
Second.
That was you, Ken?
Second, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, moved by Brad, seconded by Ken. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, the minutes are passed. Our first application this evening is BZA 20-20. Brent Willis requesting an area variance to Planning and Zoning Code Section 1113.01D3 to allow accessory buildings in the front yard, and Section 1125.03H3 to allow a stone driveway at 2101 East Smithville Western Road. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this application?
Me, Brent Willis.
All right, if you would state your address and your affirmation, please.
Yes, my name's Brent Matthew Willis. I live at 1950 Christmas Run Boulevard, and I sworn to tell the truth. I'm asking permission to build the house at the edge of a ravine, probably 350 to 400 feet from the road. I'm not really able to build outbuildings behind the house because it goes into a ravine. So I was asking permission for the main outbuilding and existing outbuildings that are in front of the house, but also they are behind all the neighbors' homes. And I also would like to have a stone drive, as it will be about 400 feet long.
Any questions from members of the board?
The lot that you're building on is about 3 1/3 acres, is that correct?
Yes, it's a long lot. It's 720 feet deep.
Yeah. So it's about 10 times the size of the typical lot along Smithville Western, which might be a
Correct.
third of an acre, right?
In your drawing here, you've got a shed that's going to stay there on the left side about a third of the way up. Is there a reason that shed's going to stay, but all the other ones are going to be getting moved?
That one was an existing shed, and I have reworked it, and it's in pretty good shape. And it's still behind the neighbor's home. It's basically beside it. The pole
Yeah, I
barn,
guess-
I'd like to remove that. And there's another shed that is by the drive that I just want to use it long enough to get the house built for a tool shed, and then it'll be moved either to the side, probably to the east side of the house, or
And that one's marked that you're talking about in this picture, this sketch?
yeah, it's where it comes in. It's the second curve. It's an 8x8 building on the drawing.
Yeah, got it. And that's gonna go up
Yeah.
on the east or west side of the house.
East or west side of the house is where I plan on moving it when we want to use it. I want to use it for a tool shed.
So the,
I didn't hear that if you were asking me anything.
no, I was just looking in relative size, that says 8x8, and the other one's, what is that getting, 12x10? It's just not
Yeah,
drawn
it's
to,
12 by 10. It's close to the lot line, 10 feet or so.
but it is behind the neighbors on that side's house.
Yes.
I drove out there to look,
It's-
I had trouble figuring it all out, so I'm gonna ask you maybe some questions that don't make sense, but, so, the
Okay.
neighbor's house is in front of that. Okay,
Yeah, it's actually beside it, but mostly in front of it.
okay,
So the pole barn is actually more than 300 feet off the road. Is that correct?
The
Looks like it's-
new pole barn will be.
Yeah, the new one, yes. So that's
Yes.
definitely behind all the other lots. It would be in their backyards, basically.
Yes.
If they were looking, trying to see it, yeah.
And the old pole barn, when the new one goes up, the old one's coming down.
Yes,
So-
I saw that.
I need it to house a tractor and some materials and a trailer and stuff for while we're working on the home.
So the shed that's going to stay, the 10 by 12, that's out in front and near your neighbor's house, what's the purpose of that shed?
I use it to put, I'm going to use it to store the mower and things in. And I have some windows and building material in it right now for the new home.
And I guess just
And
as
I've-
a general question, I think you said this somewhere in your application, but just so that we get it on the record, what's your purpose in building the house so far back on the lot?
For privacy and to achieve a walkout basement, I'd like to have a walkout basement, and I have to build that far back to be on the edge of that ravine. Plus, the road's really busy, and we'd like to have a little privacy since the lot's big and the ravine is all wooded and kind of nice.
Are you planning on having a driveway to the pole barn, or is it just gonna be sitting in the middle of the yard?
At the moment, I need the pole barn for now. I'm not planning on a drive to it. It'll be a workshop.
Doug, did you get through all of your questions?
Sorry?
Doug, did you get through all of your
Yes.
questions?
Yes, I'm just struggling with that shed, the 10 by 12 up front, that's all, but we'll get to that. Okay.
I guess, is there a reason out of curiosity that the new pole barn couldn't be to the left side of the proposed house in that 88-foot section there on the diagram?
The left side, you're saying move it farther left?
The new pole barn? No, I guess what
Further
direction would be north? Further north up to the east or the west of the house?
I think he's asking, is it possible to move the pole barn to the east of the house, where you've got 88 feet on your plan there?
Yeah, that's a real wet area. And it kind of drains down through there and it's wet. That's why the house is over to the right. And I really didn't want to build in a wet zone.
Understood.
All right, any further questions from members of the board? All right, hearing none. Andrew, I'll open the public hearing on this application. Do we have anything on YouTube?
We do not right now. Maybe just give it a bit.
While we're waiting, can I ask a quick question of Mr. Willis?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes.
To the west of you, have you discussed this with the neighbors to the west?
Yes.
They're aware of this and you've talked to them personally about?
Yeah, I've talked to both neighbors, west and east, and neither one of them opposed anything.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And I haven't received any comments on the YouTube channel. Neither of us received any calls or emails.
All right, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing on application 20-20. Any further questions? If
No.
not, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move approval as presented.
Thank you,
I'll
Ken.
second it.
That was Doug.
Doug, yes.
Okay, thank you, Doug. All right, voting in the affirmative on application BZA 20-20. Ken?
I'm voting yes. I believe that the lot is very, very different from the typical lot along Smithville Western and like 10 times the size. And so I think that that satisfies one of the characteristics of a variance. It's an unusual situation. I believe the gravel or stone driveway also relates to that while the typical third of an acre lot would have a paved driveway, I think it's reasonable to expect 1 to 400 feet to, and in this kind of setting of kind of a reclusive house and on its own little acreage, it seems to be an okay thing.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Doug?
Yeah, I think this is a different lot because it is so large, extra large lot. That gives him some, and these buildings all seem, or like I say, I couldn't figure it out, but I was told they all are behind the side or behind the neighbors' lots, and there doesn't seem to be anybody coming out for the to speak against it. I'm going to vote yes.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Brad?
Just to add on to what's already been said, on our review criteria sheet, letter D talks about if the variance would substantially alter the characteristic of the neighborhood. I think given, as we've talked about, the lot size that it's covered, it's wooded, and so it's very unique in its circumstances. So allowing these variances, while it might be different than what the code allows, the home is almost going to be unique to itself, that property to itself. So I'm going to vote yes for those reasons.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mark?
I'm also going to go vote yes for many of the same reasons as my peers here, and specifically just the large size of the lot. Everything's still going to be set back pretty far from the road, and it's just kind of a unique lot in that way.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Ben?
I will vote yes as well for the reasons that the other board members have stated. And I'd also like to add on that other houses in the area do have a stone driveway, so it won't be changing the facade of the neighborhood any than what it already is.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ben. And I too will vote yes for all of the reasons cited by my colleagues on the board. I would only be repeating other statements. So your application is approved.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, next up, we will go to application BZA 20-22. This is Anthony Aarons requesting an area variance to Planning and Zoning Code Section 111301E8D2 to allow fencing without a unified color at 722 Quinby Avenue. Is there anyone to speak on behalf of this application?
There is Anthony Aarons, 722 Quinby Avenue. I will tell the truth in all my statements.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Well, my wife and I just purchased a dog, and he's getting big enough that we need a fence. On the picture that you see, the bottom part of the fence, there's an existing wood fence along a tree line. We want to extend that wood fence to close off the area between the house and the garage. On the north side, there's no fence currently, and we would like to put a chain link fence because the large wood fence would block visibility, and we have a shared driveway and a good relationship with our neighbors, and we'd like to not have a large wall in that area.
I assume you've talked with your neighbors about this?
Yes.
Any other questions from members of the board?
Yep, maybe this is in here, but I didn't see it. And this is a chain link fence that is 4 feet high?
I think it's 5.
Whatever standard of those.
How does one access your garage there? Is that going to be within the fence or?
We are going to have a gate put along in
Okay.
front of the pad. Actually, there'll be 2 gates. There's a cement pad directly behind the house and another one in front of the garage. And we'll have 2 driving gates.
Okay.
Is on the south side of the house, is there any new fencing over there? Or I mean, is that just the old existing wood fence?
We will be putting in new fence that matches the existing wood fence
Okay.
on both ends. The wood fence right now is not closed off against the house or the garage.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. All right, thank you.
So the existing fence is really more just kind of a sound barrier than a complete
Right.
enclosure.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions from members of the board?
Okay, so I see where the existing wood fence is pretty, when I was pulled up in the driveway there, it looks pretty well hidden amongst those trees.
Yes.
But the new part to the west will kind of be exposed a little more when it comes to the garage. And I guess there's property behind that yet too, right? Your property?
Yes.
Okay.
And most of that area is actually enclosed by trees visually. Yeah, there's a lot of trees back in that area.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then it looks like there's actually fence behind your garage, and I can't see how far that extends.
Yeah, that's the back neighbor's fence. There's actually fences all over the place. There's a fence behind, there's a fence in the other neighbors. That's one of the things. There's a lot of fences in the area. It's not really going to be any different than most of the other yards. The main thing is the chain link fence. I don't want to be a barrier fence because we have a shared driveway and a good relationship. We don't want to put a privacy fence in the middle of the driveway.
Mhm.
And the reason that you're before the board is because the code says all the fencing should be the same.
Right.
So it would require it to be solid if we didn't get the variance. So,
Right.
Yeah, the code would say you need a solid wood fence.
Actually, the code has changed to only require a similar color.
oh,
The
Oh, okay.
portion with the same style was removed in our, I believe, last year.
oh, okay.
So the fence could actually be gotten in brown and he wouldn't have to be here.
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see brown chain link. Okay. we can take further questions, but I'll go ahead and ask Andrew to open the public hearing on application 20-22. Andrew, do we have anything on YouTube?
We do not. I did have some conversations with the neighbor to the west with the white fence. After I believe she met with the applicant, and I had conversations with her, and she is okay with the application.
Okay, good to know.
And I'm not getting any comments on the YouTube feed.
All right. All right, then we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Are there any further questions from the members of the board? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this as presented.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Do I have a
I'll second
second?
it.
Is that
Doug.
Doug? All right, voting in the affirmative to approve BZA 20-22. Brad, you get to go first.
Sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right. I'm going to vote yes. And again, historically, my time on the board, we've always looked at if there was separation on two different color fences, or in the past, two different style fences. There is separation here. And if we want to look at the review criteria, the shared driveway does make things unique and different, out of character for the neighborhood. So for those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and vote yes.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Doug?
Just, it's not really well seen, the two different fences from the road at all. And two, it's you gotta kind of pull up in the driveway, and it's kind of private back there because the lot's pretty good size. And I like that it's shared because it is a shared driveway and the open nature of it. I like all that. So I'm going to vote yes on this one.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Ken?
I'm voting yes for primarily the reason that with the shared driveway, keeping an open feel for that area is important for the character of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Mark?
I'm also going to vote yes, in particular because of number A, or letter A, I'm sorry, the special conditions of the shared driveway. Also with having the gates there, I think if they were to put in those wooden gates and try to move those every day to pull their cars in and out, I'm not sure how effective that would be. So I think that chain link fence makes perfect sense. And so I'm going to vote yes.
Ben?
Yeah, I'll vote yes as well for all the other reasons that have been stated already.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, and I too will vote yes. I too am persuaded by the unique circumstance of the shared driveway and the having an open chain link fence to preserve visibility makes a great deal of sense. Also, the fact that the neighbors have no objections to it, and we've got a lot of different styles of fence already in the neighborhood, this seems to be a very reasonable accommodation. So your application is approved.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right, and now we are on to application BZA 20-21. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this application?
Yes, Mr. Fitzgibbon, Bob Reynolds, 441 West Liberty Street, Worcester, and I affirm to swear to tell the truth.
And
Okay.
Bob, before you get started here, as Mark is the applicant, you'll need to kind of recuse yourself from the review of this application.
Yes.
Okay, so he'll be outside of the discussion and the voting for this application.
Yeah, and Mr. Reynolds, if you could, I see you are in your car. Your audio is not coming through very clearly.
I'm sorry, I'll try to speak up.
Okay, that's better.
I've managed to silence my driver and the rest of the car, so, which was no easy task.
Okay,
Yes, we're seeking a variance. Whoops. You got the map in front of you there. The house in question is on East Wayne, the corner of Avalon and East Wayne. We're looking to put a fence around the backyard. If you've been down Avalon, you know you've got a bunch of stately houses there with very nice front yards. And because of the way Mark's house is situated, fronting onto Wayne, you've got his side yard, which contains, at least at this point, a trampoline, an above-ground pool, a play set, 2 barking dogs, and any number of other types of things that, frankly, the neighbors on Avalon are probably tired of looking at. He's looking to put up a 6-foot privacy fence, high quality. It'll be a solid fence. The variance is needed because of, number one, it's not going to be 25 feet off of the property line, and 2, it's going to be a solid fence. So the one unique characteristic to this property, I guess aside from the way it's situated with what is essentially his backyard fronting onto Avalon, is that there's about 10 foot of space between the curb line and his property line already. So we think there's ample buffer there. Not that Avalon would ever be extended or expanded, because there's just not that many houses on it. I know Mark has shared these plans with his neighbors, and by and large, I think the response that he's gotten is, why is it taking you 9 years to do this? So happy to answer any questions you might have.
any questions from members of the board?
I would point out, I think it's clear from the drawing, but the fence is not going to extend past the house. I mean, it's not going to extend south of the house towards Wayne. It's just going to be the backyard area, beginning at the house, running then north along Avalon, along the back property line, the east property line, then tying back into the back corner of the garage.
Yeah, that would be an awful lot of white fence to look at if it were to go further around the house.
Right. And at that point, you would have a vision issue with the intersection, and this won't be the
Yes.
case at all.
Yeah, actually looking at the map, I'm surprised that people haven't commented on the trees on either corner of Avalon and Wayne. But that's not our jurisdiction, so we won't put that on the table.
They are trimmed up. At least I can tell you the one at the northeast corner is trimmed up quite high, so it's not a vision issue.
Okay, good.
So, so this is a corner lot, just to be clear, and has all those problems of a corner lot, that it actually has two front yards. And essentially what the side yard is almost like a front yard there. So
Yes.
there's always extra things that are asked of corner lots, that they observe all these setbacks, but there's essentially no side yard there. You just got a backyard and a side on the other side, but
Are there any other like fenced in backyards or any other fences in the area?
The house, I think 3 houses east of there is fenced in. It's another corner lot. Their back area is fenced in. With regards to the houses on Avalon, there might be some fenced in backyards, but again, those are hidden from the street.
Well, and I guess just to
There are two.
reiterate, did I hear you say that Mark has talked to the neighbors and they're okay with this plan?
Yes, essentially, once we got the application ready, about the same time it was filed, he made copy of not the technical stuff with the zoning or the variance criteria, but the map, the drawing of the
You're
fence.
breaking up.
Sorry. Mark made a packet up with the aerial, the fence design, and the other information, and delivered it to the neighbors to let them know, number one, what he was doing, and number two, that they would be getting a notice of the BZA hearing. And again, there was no negative feedback from that. And I'm certain that there are some neighbors that have been, wishing there had been fence up there in years past.
Okay, any other questions from members of the board?
Yep, the question was asked, is there any other on Gashi and Wayne Avenue there to the northwest corner? We heard a variance on that fenced in yard, and that actually goes in front of the house, but runs up Gashi. There's a fence there. And then I believe also the next street east of Avalon, that on the northeast corner, he has some fencing, and we've heard some things on his yard, but I don't think it was fencing. It was a building he was erecting or something, but so there are other in the neighborhood with this kind of or with fencing. I don't know if it's exactly similar, but they have fencing when they're on the corner.
Okay, Andrew. Let's go ahead and open the public hearing on this. Is there anything on YouTube?
There is not so far. And we don't appear to be getting any comments in.
Okay. All right, then in the absence of public comment, we will close the public hearing. Any further questions from members of the board? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve this variance as presented.
Second,
Okay, that was Brad and Ken.
yes.
Okay. All right, voting in the affirmative on application BZA 20-21. Brad?
Yes, so two things about this request stood out to me that were pointed out in this meeting. One, that this is, despite it fronting another street, this is the property owner's backyard. And the fence style, while not specific or not applicable by the code, I think that it's still a good design choice. And by putting in this fence, it's not creating any safety issues with coming up to that intersection. So for those reasons, and those are reasons we historically have considered before, I'm going to vote to approve this variance request.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Ken?
I'm voting yes for the same reasons that Brad mentioned. And plus, I did notice that we have approved a reconstruction of a fence at Wellesley there and on Highland Avenue in Wellesley that I think was a similar situation where it was a corner lot and they had a swimming pool in the back. And that's one of the issues here to provide separation for an activity like the swimming pool.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Doug?
Yeah, I'm going to vote yes. I agree with both Brad and Ken on this issue. And the other thing is Avalon's a dead end street. I don't think it traveled that heavily when I've been on it. I think it's one of those things that I think that shouldn't matter to the neighbors. And obviously them not coming out tonight would say that's probably true. So I'm voting yes.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Ben?
Yeah, I will vote yes as well, for the reasons stated already. And then I think it does align with point C, where it's the minimum necessary to make possible the reasonable use. If you only went 4 foot, you're not really going to block the view from your neighbors anyways. So I think the extra 2 feet will allow a backyard to be a backyard.
Okay, thank you, Ben. I too will vote yes for the reasons cited by my colleagues on the board. I think this is, as Ken noted, it's a corner lot. It's a peculiar situation. But I think particularly it's in the public interest to, have the barrier to the pool. So I think this is a sensible variance to allow. So your variance is approved.
Thank you all.
All right, do we have any further business to come before the board? Andrew, anything? You're on mute, Andrew.
Nothing else. Just to let Ben know, we don't always have fences and sheds. There's more to this board than those kind of happen.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a nice theme. At least we have a theme tonight. We can think along those
That's what-
lines,
That's what I was going to say. More themed meetings would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Since we have nothing further to come before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. What? Not everybody is saying yes?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, a motion by Ken. Seconded by Brad. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say no. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, Andrew.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Keep October open.
One can only hope.
If one can hope, yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.